Hi guys, in this video, we'll be looking at how to integrate and test PubScale's Offerwall SDK on Android. We'll cover adding your app onto the dashboard, setting up the SDK using Android Studio, and configuring server callbacks to get instant updates whenever a user earns a reward. Okay, let's quickly get started. First, let's go to dashboard.pubscale.com and create an account. Once you're on the dashboard, head to the Offerwall section, and under that you'll find a Create Offerwall button. Once you're in, on the right you will find a live preview of what your Offerwall would look like. And any changes you make, like the payout details or the currency icon, will be instantly reflected onto this live preview. Okay, let's quickly go ahead and add our app. In our case, I'll choose Play Store. And here you can search for your Android app by simply entering in your app's name or the package name, or by simply pasting in your Play Store URL. But if your app isn't live yet, you can still add it manually by clicking this plus icon here. Here I'll enter in our app's name and our package ID. And now you can see that the app is added. Next, let's set our payout details. First up, we have an option to select our in-app currency name. We also have an option to enter in a custom name, but in our case, I'll just choose coin. This is where you define the exchange rate from $1 to your in-app currency. To understand this better, we can take an example. Let's say if $1 buys 100 coins in your app and you keep a 30% margin, you then set your exchange rate as 70. And if you're still unsure, a good rule of thumb is to think about how much in-app value your users expect from a $1 purchase. You can also upload a custom currency icon here. I'll go ahead and add ours. Also, you'll notice your payout values and the icon show up right away in the live preview. And that's it. Your app is now added to the platform. You might notice it says pending approval here. Just reach out to your PubScale account manager to get this approved. And once that's done, you'll see the status here change to live. First, let's open the integration docs by clicking on this tab here. And on the left is where you'll find the documentation for different integration types. And since we're dealing with Android, let's go ahead and select that. For this video, we will actually not be creating a new project from scratch, but instead we'll be looking at an existing sample integration to show you where exactly the integration code goes. Also, if you do wish to follow along and test it out for yourself, the project files are available on GitHub. First, you'll have to add the dependencies to your build.gradle file. And once that's done, you'll have to configure the ProGuard rules in your ProGuard rules file. This is done to prevent any potential issues coming up in your release builds. Next, you will have to open the main activity file. This is where you'll place the code for initializing the Offerwall, the code to start the Offerwall, along with the launch method. Here is where you'll have to place your app ID. You can get the app ID from the dashboard by simply clicking this here. Next, it is important to pass a unique ID here. A unique ID is basically a user ID which helps you track individual users. So whenever a user completes an offer, PubScale sends a postback containing this ID, and this will allow your system to correctly credit the reward to that specific user. Next, let's set up server callbacks. This will help you get instant updates whenever the user gets the reward. To understand server callbacks better, let's first quickly look at how the Offerwall works behind the scenes. First, the user taps the Offerwall placement inside your app. The Offerwall opens and they see a list of tasks that they can complete to earn rewards. Let's say they go ahead and complete one. Now in the background, the advertiser verifies the completion and sends the result to PubScale servers. From there, we trigger a secure server-to-server callback to your app's backend along with the reward value and the user ID. Your server then instantly credits the users with the reward. And that's it. It's that simple. Once you're on the dashboard, head to the S2S section here. And for the sake of the demo, I've created a sample callback URL. I'll just paste it here. Here you may notice some default parameters. Their values are fixed, but you do have the option to edit the key. Here you can select additional parameters from the drop-down list like this. I'll go ahead and add a few that I think I'll need. Also, if you need some additional custom parameters, you can simply type in the parameter name and click create. And now once everything's set, we can go ahead and hit save. Now let's test the callback. Here we'll just use the same user ID we used in the code and paste it in here. And we'll also enter a sample reward value. Now once we hit test callback, we'll get a 200 OK response, which means that the callback is working and your server is successfully receiving the data. Now that we're done setting up the callbacks, the next step is to then test the Offerwall. And for this, we'll head back to the dashboard and launch sandbox mode. This basically creates a test environment where you can safely try out your integration without affecting the live setup. Firstly, let's check our integration to see if everything is working as expected. To do that, let's quickly run this application. Here, you can see in the logs that the Offerwall has been initialized, which means that it's running as expected. But now in order to check if the reward values and the callback data are working correctly, let's enable sandbox mode and complete a test offer. Now to enable sandbox mode, let's head back to the code and under Offerwall config builder, let's call set sandbox enable and pass true. So this basically enables the sandbox mode. And to confirm it, you'll notice a sandbox mode indicator at the top of the Offerwall. An important thing to note here is that sandbox is just for testing. Before going live, make sure to remove or set this to false. If you leave sandbox mode on in your production build, no real rewards will be triggered or you'll miss out on revenue. So please make sure to remove this before going live. Now let's verify the integration and check if logs are coming through. To do that, first we'll need to enter a user ID. For this demo, I've already set one, so I'll just paste it here. And once we hit go, you'll notice that the connection has been established and is now listening for events. This is a good sign as it means that the sandbox mode is successfully connected to the device and is tracking events for this particular user. Alright, let's start testing. Let's find an offer to complete. I'll go ahead and select this 2048 game. Now you'll notice that the first reward is for simply opening the game. So we'll start the offer, launch the game, and that should be enough to trigger the reward. Now let's check the logs to confirm. And here we can see that the reward has been completed and the callback has been sent to your server. To verify this, we can look at the callback payload. And you'll see the goal name as game open, the offer name as 2048 sandbox, and the payout value. So basically these are all the values that we set up earlier in the S2S callback configuration. If you've already completed all the rewards for an offer, it'll disappear from your Offerwall in sandbox mode. But don't worry, you can easily test it again. To do this, just head over to the sandbox dashboard and there you'll find an option to reset your sandbox user history. You'll get a quick confirmation asking if you want to reset it for that particular user ID. And once you hit reset, your previously completed offers will reappear. To confirm this, we can go back to the Offerwall and see the rewards we've completed earlier. Now if we close the app and relaunch it, you'll notice that the offer has been fully reset and you're free to test it again from the start. One last thing to keep in mind before going live. Make sure to comment out or remove the sandbox code, as leaving this in production will prevent real rewards from coming through. Also, ensure that the unique ID you pass is dynamic. It should be different for each user. If all the users share the same ID, they won't get their own rewards and you won't be able to track who earned what. To make sure each user receives the correct rewards on offer completion, it's recommended to pass a unique user identifier from your app, like a login ID or a user UUID. And that's it. Your app is now all set to start earning from PubScale's Offerwall. And if you do need any help, please do visit our documentation or contact support@pubscale.com. Thanks for watching.